One of the three greatest challenges that I see entrepreneurs make is lying about their current reality accidentally. We're gonna speed up success today with the second of 3 episodes all about how to speed it up, how to succeed faster than ever before. Last week we talked about creating a vision that was so powerful that actually moved you, and how if you didn't hit the goals of the past, it's like because you don't care about them. If you really want to succeed faster than ever before, we need to dream huge, right? And we talked about all of the things that were holding us back in the media and scarcity and all of that stuff, but today we're gonna go a different route. Today we're gonna focus on another area that slows people down so that you can speed up, and those are the stories that you're telling yourself. This is the Path to Mindset Mastery podcast. My name is Brad Bizjak. I'm a personal development expert with 9 years of coaching experience. And I've taken my own business from $92,000 in debt to multiple millions of dollars in just a couple of years. And I am obsessed with helping entrepreneurs just like you come alive to their limitless possibilities. And possibility is one of my favorite words, because it allows you to think about what could be. And if we're ever going to get to what could be, like what we talked about last week, then we need to be honest about where we are. Now, I gave a metaphor last week all about GPS, right? And I talked about plugging in a destination to that GPS. Well, there's another thing that GPS needs if it's going to drive to where you want to be, that big dream, that big goal that you really want to get to. And that second piece is your starting location. Now, what most people do is they take a look at their life, their starting location, and make it mean something negative. I want you to ask yourself, if you have taken a look at your life in terms of your finances or your business or your career or whatever it is, and made it mean something that held you back. Did you ever take an overdraft in your bank account to mean that you wouldn't be successful? Did you ever take something that happened with your parenting to mean that you won't be a great parent? Like, think about the stories that you currently make up about where you're currently at. See, most people live in storyland all day. And one of the things that's helped me speed up success and allow me to succeed faster than I ever thought possible was adopting a mindset of acceptance. Now that sounds weird. Accept my situation, accept the challenges of my life. That's just the way it is. No. What I mean is acceptance of what is so that I can do something about it. And so what does that mean? That means that we need to take an objective look at where we are. If you are looking at your life through the lens of story, then what ends up happening is you likely think that your life is the cause of your emotions, which is bullshit. Your life is not the cause of your emotions. You are the creator of how you feel. You're the creator of your thoughts, and the meaning you give to what you're thinking about creates your emotions. And so we create this, and we have the ability to change this when we rewire our mind. And so if you think about storyland, what I mean by storyland is when you just tell stories all day long. Like, have you ever had that voice in your head in the shower that's like super negative and super dark and makes up all this crap about your life and goes all over the place? If that voice were a person, would you ever hang out with them? No, right? So we make up stories about where we currently are, and it's negative, it's exhausting. And so the point I'm trying to bring up is that we need to have an objective view of our circumstances. Most people think that their existing circumstances are the cause of their emotions. And if you are one of the people that think that your existing circumstances are the cause of your emotions, then what you'll find is you likely have the same exact challenges continue to show up in your life. The same exact limiting beliefs, the same exact fears, the same exact doubt, the same exact money situation. Everything's the exact same as it's always been. There hasn't really been that much progress. Sure, a little bit here and there, but nothing quantum, nothing massive. It hasn't really been a lot of progress because you're making the critical mistake of saying my circumstances make me feel a certain way, which is BS. See, all of life, talked about this before, all of life is cause and effect. And if you focus consistently on the circumstances in your life, thinking that those circumstances cause you to feel some way, then what it ends up doing is you accidentally are giving your power away. Now, most people will disagree with this, so I'm not most people. Most people disagree with this. And if you take a look at the people that do disagree with this, chances are they don't have what they want. They don't have the big dream that they want. They're not on track for the big dream that they want. They're living in scarcity and fear. And so we need to take a look at our circumstances and ask ourselves, do we currently see those as the cause of how we feel or the effect of how we've been feeling? Most people think they're the cause of how they feel. And if you think that your circumstances, your money, your business, whatever it is the cause of how you're feeling, then you take your power completely away. See, those things, your circumstances, are the effects of your life, not the cause. These things, the circumstances that are present in your life, you are 100% responsible for all of it. Every single bit of it. And if you think for 1 minute that those things make you feel a certain way, you're giving your power away. See, all suffering is never found in what happens. Suffering is only found in your perception of what happens. That's it. Two people, same situation. Here's a great example. Two people, two twin boys that grew up in a really challenging household. Alcoholic father who beat them, terrible situation, horrible stuff. Father ended up going to jail, and what ended up happening was they went years later and they followed the story of these boys' lives. Now, one of the two boys was in jail, just like his dad. And one of the two boys was thriving, wildly successful, amazing life. And they went and they interviewed these two boys, and one of the boys, I went and interviewed the boy that was in jail, and they said, last question, why do you think your life ended up this way? And the boy says, because of my father. My father was an alcoholic, he beat me, he was so negative, all these things that he did to me, that's the reason I am where I am today. And I don't know what else happened in the rest of the interview, but that's the point of it. That when they interviewed the other man at this stage, who had millions of dollars, successful, all this amazing stuff, beautiful family, everything. I said, last question. Why do you think your life ended up this way? He said, because of my father. My father beat us as a kid. He was an alcoholic. He wasn't there. He wasn't present. If my father wasn't that way, I wouldn't have the drive to be the man that I am today. The only thing that changed between person one and person two was that person two rewired their mind for success. Person one chose a meaning that was disempowering. They were at the effect of life instead of the cause of life. That person looked at their circumstances as the cause. Therefore, they were at the effect. The other person, the successful person, looked at their life themselves as the cause. Therefore, the effect was different. And so what we need to take a look at is our starting point in that GPS navigator. Where are you actually saying you are? Are you making up stories about your circumstance to feel something? Are you making up a story about your life that is more disempowering than you want it to be? And I want you to think about it. Think about a circumstance in your life that's not the way that you want it to be. And I want you to list out all the stories you make up about that circumstance. Oh, it's because of this person, or I don't have the money, or I don't have the time, or it's because of my team, or it's because of that. Whatever it is, write out all your stories. And I want you to take a look at all those stories and ask yourself, how do I solve that? How do I even begin to solve all of those stories? You can't. It's overwhelming. It's exhausting. There's no way to do it. You just feel wiped out and just drained, and you throw your hands up in the air saying, I can't do it. I can't succeed. I'm stuck. This is the way my life is. It's because of those things. That's why I am where I am. That's why I feel the way that I do. But if you take a look at those stories and actually ask yourself, what's the fact? Like one fact of the situation. So take a look at all your stories. Ask yourself, what's actually true here? What's the only thing that's true? Let's say it was a story about money, right? I don't have the money. There's never enough opportunity for me. Other people don't understand my situation. I'll never be there. I don't deserve success. I'm not worthy of success. When the only thing that's true is I have $32 in my bank account. That's it. In that example, right? I have $32 in my bank account. Well, if that is the fact, without all the garbage of stories, which of those two groups is easier to solve? All the stories about having $32 in your bank account, or the objective look at $32 in your bank account? What's the difference? The difference is one is playing in stories, making up lies about where you are that are impossible to solve to feel a sense of significance and importance about how hard your situation is. The other is an objective view, an acceptance of what is. Now, what does that mean? Acceptance of what is. Not saying you don't have desire to change. Doesn't mean you don't have dissatisfaction. It means that you're looking at your circumstance and you're saying, okay, these are the cards that I'm dealt. I'm going to do something about it. You're taking a proactive approach to your life instead of a reactive approach to your life. You look at the fact and you move on from there. See, stories cloud judgment. If you live in all those stories, when an opportunity comes your way, then what happens? You don't seize it. You don't go after it with everything you can. You half-ass apply the strategy, whatever it is. You don't get what you want. But when you look at the fact, there's no clouds in your head. You're clear. You can move. Does that make sense? So let's apply this to that success GPS metaphor that we've been talking about, right? We have the big dream, the destination that actually excites us, the hiking trip we talked about last week. And if you haven't listened to last week, we'll link it up below here. Make sure that you go back and listen to last week, and also just go to the podcast above this one or below this one for last week. But we have a big dream. We have that compelling destination. Let's say we've mastered that already. The second thing that GPS needs is your starting location. If you are honest about where you're at, you look at the fact, GPS knows where you are and can chart a course. But if you're making up stories about where you're at, then GPS actually thinks you're further back than you are or further ahead than you are. So let's say I live in Chicago and I want to drive to Yosemite, my big dream. That's my road trip I want to go on. And I'm in this place in Chicago in my garage. And I say that it's harder for me. People don't understand story. I tell GPS I'm actually in Buffalo, New York. And so, or I might be in a situation where I say it's better than it is. Oh yeah, everything's fine. It's toxic positivity, right? It's fine. I don't have any problems. There's no issues at all. Pretend everything's good. And you're telling GPS I'm actually in Denver when you're in Chicago. And so if you're trying to drive to Yosemite, California, right? And GPS either thinks you're in Denver or Buffalo, but you're actually in Chicago, what happens when you chart a course? GPS will chart a course from that place to where you want to go, but what you'll end up doing is driving around aimlessly because it will say turn left on Johnson Street. And you're like, where's Johnson Street? So you drive around aimlessly, not knowing where to go, so you turn around and go back to everything you've ever known. What's safe? Living in stories. And so you never get to where you want to be. So my calling to you today in this short episode is to realize that you are the creator of your thoughts. You create them. You decide if you feel vibrant and alive. You decide if you feel crappy. You decide if you live in scarcity. You decide if you live in abundance. You decide if the world falling apart means that everything is doomed, or you decide that the world falling apart means that I have the opportunity to serve more than I've ever served, add value more than anyone else, to be the exception, to be the role model. You get to choose. You are the creator of your thoughts. And if you want to thrive in this time, you want to speed up success more than ever before, you need to rewire your subconscious mind. You need to rewire yourself to think in this way. And when you do, it'll be the greatest time you've ever lived, because all of a sudden you have this big vision. When everyone else is slowing down, you're speeding up. You have this big vision and you're honest about where you're at, so you don't have stories clouding your judgment. All of a sudden you can fly towards where you want to go because there's no noise. You're just lasered in and you go, and it becomes so much easier. So I want you to picture your dream. What do you really want? What are you going after right now faster than ever before? And I want you to be honest about where you're at so that you can make that leap from where you are to where you really want to be. Not the BS story you told yourself about where you thought you wanted to be, where you really want to be. Faster than ever before. That's what's possible for you here. 6-figure success, 7-figure success, changing lives all over the world, a bank account that continues to grow, buying your dream home, doing all these things, traveling the world. All these incredible things are possible for you too in your own version of that when you rewire your mind. And if you're having a hard time doing that, if you live in storyland, you notice these stories come up consistently, then my calling to you today is to take the What's Your Unique Success Archetype quiz. I've been talking about it for months and months and months. But I'm telling you, this quiz will show you exactly why you make up these stories. It will give you the starting point of the success journey so you can speed it up faster than ever before. If you notice that you get this logically, but emotionally you're not really going after it, like you have a conceptual understanding of this, but there's a piece of you that's like, no, you don't understand my situation. Or a piece of you that's like, yeah, I know that, but you say I know all the time, I know I need to, but it's not really grasping it, or you're not sticking with it, or you just feel this exhaustion, or you know you're meant for more, but you're not breaking through the next level. This quiz will show you why. You'll feel understood for the first time in probably years. And it will help you see exactly where you are so that you can break through those mistakes and get to where you want to go. So part 2 of this 3-part series is to be honest about where you currently are. Be honest and objective with acceptance of this is the only fact. This is the only thing that's true. And once you do that, all the noise dissipates and you can go after that vision with laser clarity, and it's so much easier. So if you found value in this today, screenshot this episode, share it in your Instagram stories, tag me so that I can celebrate you and shout you out. And if you give us a rating and review, that'd be absolutely amazing. It allows us to serve more people. And remember, take the What's Your Unique Success Archetype quiz. I hope you found so much value in this episode today. We're going to come back for part 3 next week, where we talk about the path from where you are to where you want to be, and one of the ways to speed that up faster than ever before. Thank you so much for tuning into the Path to Mindset Mastery podcast today. My name is Brad Bizjack. Go there today and every day and live your life with a genuine smile on your face. I'll see you next week.